So Lam Rim means stages of path. आपको पता है ना, यहाँ लिखा stages of path, spiritual stages of path, which means there is no shortcut. स्टेज करके जाना पड़ता है. फर्स्ट क्लास, सेकंड क्लास, थर्ड क्लास, फोर्थ क्लास, फिर पीएचडी करके धीरे धीरे जाना पड़ता है ना. सीढ़ी में भी एक दो करके जाना पड़ता है ना. कभी कभी 2 दिन लेके छलांग मारता है, लेकिन उसमें देयर इज रिस्क ऑफ हैविंग एक्सीडेंट इफ यू ट्राई टू ओवर रीच एनीथिंग, है ना. ये है. सो the Lam Rim stages of path is categorized basically into 3 sections. Path common to the small individual, path common to the middle individual, and the last one is path of the common नहीं होता, इसमें common नहीं होता, path of the great individual. So in the first category of the path common to the small individual means small individuals are those who aspire to achieve happiness or achieve life of human being in this very life, to find some kind of happiness and peace in this samsara itself. That's called small individual. So we don't even belong to that small individual. we don't even belong to that. Because if you are somebody who aspire to get that happiness in the samsara, in the cycle of existence, then at least you should be somebody who is thinking about, number 1, we already read, preciousness of human life. Second, impermanence. Third, law of causality, cause-effect relationship. So you can clearly see we don't even belong to that small individual. है ना? So at least we should make attempt to belong to that small individual. But here in these stages of the path, the goal is to achieve enlightenment, to lead people into the path of the great individual. So this topic on the small individual also common to the people practicing to achieve enlightenment, the great path. So therefore it is called common. If you are somebody who wants to practice only the first level and don't want to move into the Mahayana path, then you will remain just small individual, no common. Common. Meaning that even those who aspire to become Buddha, want to achieve enlightenment, they should also cultivate these paths. So we already discussed preciousness of human life, right? Right? That human life is very precious. Precious, why? Why human life is precious? Because of this capacity, human intelligence, human brain, by which we are able to distinguish between what is right, what is wrong. ठीक है ना? And also not very easy to obtain this human life. There was a teacher who was teaching and saying that it's not easy to obtain human life. Then somebody said, the teacher is saying so because he did not visit China. Now we can say he did not visit India. So we think, and also we are today we are thinking, talking about human explosion of human population, है ना? Right? But comparing to other tiny insects, we cannot, in terms of number, we cannot compete them. कीड़ा मकोड़ा के नंबर को देखो तुम, मस्कीटो के नंबर को देखो. अभी कहाँ था कुछ दिन, just few days back, there was a mosquito attack in one city somewhere in India. Everywhere there was mosquito, like that. But the more important thing is, therefore people ask me the question, why do you say human life is difficult to achieve? There are so many people here. So I think, one, comparing to other species, it is not easy to obtain human life with this special intelligence. Second, Second, we can say those of us who obtain this human life, I don't know whether we should call all ourselves as having obtained precious human life. Because you have this special human intelligence, but if you are using it in the wrong way, then precious nahi hua na, then it's not precious. What is opposite to precious? Huh? Huh? Worthless. Something like that. So I need to find the right word. Opposite to preciousness. In Tibetan there is a word for it. Milu rimboche, milu churboche. Churbo. So it's like, I think it's something like worthless. So whether your life becomes precious or worthless, it depends upon how you use this intelligence. Right? We already discussed that most of us misuse this human intelligence and the intelligence gets corrupted. बदमाशी करने में बहुत तेज होता दिमाग. In order to doing stupid, useless things, the mind becomes very active, very sharp. And as soon as you use your mind for studying Dharma or some important text, then you fall asleep. होता है कि नहीं होता? Am I true? Yes. So in Tibetan tradition we say it means you are a sinner. You are very sinful. I don't know how far this is true, but this is really happening. One, because it shows we are not so much interested in it. So some people are having difficulty, so they come to, what should I do? Read Buddhist text. Then you will fall asleep. Right? Okay. So, we discussed about preciousness of human life. We have obtained this precious human life, but we are not going to live forever. So therefore we discuss about impermanence in general, and especially the death. Death can come any time. Death will not seek your appointment. Kalaung, kabaung, nahi bolega. When the time comes, it will come. So once there was a gentleman at the marketplace. So somebody knocked him from behind. He looked back. He found messenger of death was standing there. He was horrified. He said, "What? No, I have not come here to take you today. Your turn is next Monday." Something like that. So there was almost 1 week. So he said, "Okay, thank God, I have 1 week." So he ran away, left the marketplace, the city, town, whatever, then went into the mountain and hid himself into a cave for 1 week. On the very last day, he thought, now this week is almost over, and then this is a desolate place, nobody will be there. He just came out and craned his neck and said, "Thank God, nobody is here." So when he was doing this, somebody tapped him from the back again. Then he expressed his shock. "How did you figure out that I'm here?" When the messenger of death said, "I'm equally shocked. Because the Lord has told me to catch you from here, but I saw you last time in the marketplace." So there is no place where you can hide. Amidst the mountain, in the depth of the sea and ocean, you fly. Bunker में भी मर जाता है, bunker में. आजकल these days the dictators, naughty leaders, they don't hesitate killing other people, but for themselves, all the world leaders, they have bunkers to hide. So how long you are going to hide in the bunker? There is a story at the time of the Buddha, there was a lot of killing and conflict going on. Then somebody came and hid under the Buddha's robe. And it is said during the fight many people got killed, and after the war was over, the conflict was over, Buddha lifted his robe, this person also found dead. And I'm sure you've seen this, I remember very clearly when I was in school, one morning we were like doing some running exercise. And one of our classmates, a young girl, a very strong one, she slipped and fell down, and right there she died. So these things happen, So therefore, why we are saying this? Not to frighten you, but what I am saying is we are already impermanent, fragile. Hena. So this fragility you should study. Look inside, not just outside. Inside, look at the internal organs, the intestines, the heart, the lung, the liver, how they are functioning. This we can study. We watch a movie on that. It's better to watch a movie on that than on, Shah Rukh Khan or something else. Watch a movie on that. So that will help you to be very careful what you eat. That will help you to be very careful when you walk. For example, when you are coming down the steps, if you are not very careful and then you are talking and slip, your leg breaks just there. It's so easy. So therefore, this teaching on impermanence is really, really important. Once you know how fragile you are, you need to be very careful with whom you meet, what you eat, what you talk. Very careful. Don't become too sensitive. That is also not good. But take very good care of yourself. That's the meaning, right? So we discuss about death a little bit. Death is definite, time of death is indefinite. At the time of the death, the only thing that is beneficial is your thinking, your spiritual practice. Nothing else will be of any help. We discussed this. And then the next topic we discussed was, after death you don't disappear into nothingness. You will continue, and what kind of life you will have depends upon what kind of causes, conditions, what kind of actions you have done, what kind of karma you have performed. Accordingly, you will reap the result. Now, karma means every time you do something, it leaves an imprint in your mind, subtle mind. Right? This is like, you're recording something in the tape recorder. When you record something in the tape recorder, having recorded those things, if you try to look at the ribbon of the cassette and see what has been recorded, can you see that? Can you see? Huh? No, you can't see. So you're not being able to see doesn't mean it is not recorded. You again put it in the tape and push the play button, then you will hear whatever is recorded. If you recorded singing, you will enjoy. If you recorded yelling and shouting and fighting and crying, you will hear that. Exactly like that. It's recorded. So don't think that police is not watching, somebody is not watching, so nothing will happen to me. It's not a question of who is watching, who is not watching. It is recorded. Right? Does it make sense? Recorded means, to make it more clear, recorded means it becomes a habit. You do something, for example, if you are a alcoholic, then it's very difficult for you to give up drinking, right? So it means you are putting a lot of imprint. You are forming a habit. And that habit becomes so strong, it becomes die-hard habit. So strong that it's difficult for you to stop. So therefore in this Buddhist teaching, what we are saying is, give up many of these addictions. We are addicted to anger. Give up. Addicted to jealousy, addicted to hatred, addicted to yelling, shouting, using nasty words. Right? Addiction is of any kind. If you are addicted to coffee, also not good. Addicted to tea, also not good. Addiction is not good. Contrary to addiction, you should get habituated with good things. Right? So that mind with that habit, that trend, that tendency, that habit that is formed, continues. That's what I'm saying. In your early years, for example, in this very life, in your early years, if you are a good student, studied very nicely, you formed this habit, then that helps you for the rest of your life. You are a good dancer, or you are a good speaker, or you are, compassionate one. Even when you are habituated with that, You live the rest of life with that habit and everybody appreciates you, you become happy. So similarly, we need to, get our mind habituated with such a way so that this mind continues and enjoys that positive experience not only in this life but many lives to come. Right? And this is important because at the end of the day, unless you help yourself, nobody can help you. This is the bitter truth. You can talk about my dear brother, my dear sister, my dear husband, my dear wife. I'm not saying they are bad, they are horrible. Some of them may be extremely good, but they cannot enter into your head and think for you. They cannot go with you. Nobody can go with you. Even if you're president, prime minister, when you are alive, you have very good security and all those things, bulletproof jacket, all those things. Nothing is of any help at that time. Just like a single streak of hair that's pulled out from the lump of butter, you will have to go alone. So at that time, it is your habit, positive or negative, which will bring either happiness or suffering. So that habit formation, the word we use is living in imprint, is important. Not only for the future lives, right now. So when we study this section of the path common to the small individual, we also talk about, attaining a good life in the samsara again. That's important. But right now you already have obtained. So don't pray for the future, do it now. It doesn't make sense that you waste this very life which you already obtained and then pray, may I obtain precious human life in the future. Doesn't make any sense. Right? So therefore here we should think about what is the purpose of human life. What is the meaning of human life? Many thinkers, philosophers, they've tried to deal with this question. The answer from science not clear. The answer from philosophy also not clear. The answer from spirituality a little bit more clear. But the real answer comes by just observing ordinary people. Ordinary people, they make their life meaningful by living every day. They undergo difficulties, they live with their families, they enjoy, they also have faith, some faith towards somebody which they don't have an idea, but they have that faith. There's something is going to, do be good in the future life, something like that, right? So it's a complicated question, but I think you should make your life meaningful every day. Every day you should make your life meaningful. If you make every day of your life meaningful, it means you are making your life meaningful. If you miss today, today's life becomes meaningless. So meaningful means, as I said earlier, helping others, not harming others. If you do that, naturally you will be happy. Apart from that, you are not going to get something concrete. And the problem with us today is, when we live our life, we try to get something. If you are a musician, then you think and plan that I'll become the best musician in the world, and I'll earn that name and fame, and you think that name and fame will continue forever. You become a Nobel laureate, okay, then you become very famous, and then that name and fame will continue forever. Is it possible? Not possible, for some years. Then after that everybody will forget you. But the kind deeds that you have done, nobody will forget it. And in fact, it becomes part of your habit. That's important. Yesterday I said a little bit about Leo Tolstoy. You read more. He has written a beautiful, article on that based on his personal experience. He sought the meaning of. He tried to understand meaning of life by consulting the scientists. The scientists said, "Oh, if you want to know the meaning of life, then look at the stars, look at your genes, things like that. If you understand all these big things, then you will understand the meaning of life." Which didn't make any sense to him. Then in order to get the answer from the philosophies, he studied many philosophies. Then the philosophers, they made this question even more complicated. They are also asking the same question, but in a much more complicated way. Say, I thought I put it off. Shut up. I'm sorry. I'm teaching. I'm busy. I'm talking to people right now. I'm very rude, huh? Okay, what should I do now? I thought I put it off. Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah, so the meaning of life is, as I said the other day, happiness. Happiness means genuine happiness. Genuine happiness will come when you don't create any trouble upon others, when you help and not harm others. That is meaning of human life. But it's important to think about it. Okay? Okay, then what was it? Okay, so I was saying that when you die, you don't disappear into nothingness, you will follow the law of causality. If you have done good things, you will have good things. If you have done bad things, you will experience bad things. Law of causality. So these topics, preciousness of human life, impermanence, then what? Karma, law of causality. These topics are discussed under the topic path common to the small individual. So that we have already finished reading from the Song of Experience. So quickly read the other text also. Now you are already expert, so you will easily understand because you read the longer version. So let us read the one on the page 3, the foundation of all good qualities by Lama Tsongkhapa. Right? The foundation of all good qualities is the kind and venerable Guru. So that means this is talking about the importance of teacher. So correct devotion to him or her is the root of the path. By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect. So bless means not so much about being blessed by some external agent. Normally Tibetans and other Himalayan people from Himalayan region, we are very devoted. So we think that if the Lama's head is touched on your head, you are blessed. If you feel like that, that's okay. Nobody can object it. But the real blessing means transforming into a state of magnificence. The Tibetan word is Chinlap. Chin means magnificence. Love means transform or change into a state of magnificence. That the Lamas can't do. Only you can do. So you should learn how to give blessing to yourself. It's by doing good things you receive blessing. Not just closing your eye and thinking that the Lama will, give you some pill or some protective thread and then you are blessed. No. You can do that, but that is not the real blessing. The real blessing is Chinlap. Transform yourself by doing good things. And you will shine out. If you genuinely do that, you will shine out in this very life. Don't have to wait for next life. There will be less sickness, less illness, there will be more clarity of mind, there will be more peace of mind, there will be less fear. all these things. Many people, especially in today's world, have fear, right? Why do you think people have fear? People have fear because they have desire. I want this, and then they fear that their desire will not be fulfilled. You also fear death because you have this desire to live. Don't want to die, right? So all this fear, troubles, comes because of greed, desire. I want this. It's not simply saying I want for my food, for my clothing. That's okay, that's basic necessity. But more than what you need, I want, that brings fear. The more you say you want, the more you will get problem. There is a beautiful stanza in Nagarjuna's letter to the friend where he compares the ordinary snakes, Naga, with the king snake. The king snake has 5 heads. The ordinary snake, Naga, has only 1 head. So when these two are compared, the king looks great, with 5 heads, magnificent. And then the ordinary Naga or snake having only 1 head is not so magnificent. But the truth is, the more head you have, the more you are susceptible to problems. Nothing comes value free. In our ordinary life also, if you have like 5 brothers, 5 sisters, and then cousins, 50, 60 of them, they say, oh, I have a big family, you have a big family, And then on party days also you bring all your brothers, sisters, looks great. But the truth is, today this brother is okay, this sister is sick. This sister is okay, the other sister was sick, like that. So nothing comes value free. So the more you have, the more you have problem. There is a Tibetan saying which says, if you don't have any heavy load to carry, no thieves will chase you. If you go like this, nobody will chase you. But if you show your wallet, your fancy, watch or whatever, then there are enough people who's watching, Dekho ja raha hai, paisa leke ja raha hai. In many countries, you are not allowed to count money in front of many people, because there are many people who are really looking how to take out your money. So, I'm not saying you should not possess anything, but what I'm saying is, number 1, be careful what you have. Don't try to get more. It's headache. It's headache. Right? In our ordinary cases, most of us live in small houses, small rooms. Right? In this small room, because now all these shops and malls are nearby, every time you go, you buy something, right? Then this small room is suffocating with all these collections. So everyone has like 20 pairs of shoes, 20 pairs of jacket, 20 pairs of pants. My goodness. Even ordinary middle class family these days have all those things. And on a day you really want to wear the best clothes, you are not able to find it. You have collected so many. Kahan rakha hai? Boxa mein rakha hai? Kahan rakha hai? Niche rakha hai? Kahan? Where is it? नहीं मिल रहा है. और कभी तो एक बार मेरे से हुआ था. It happened with me one time because my friends, relatives, they don't know what to give to me because I use this kind of cloth. And so normally they end up giving me shoes. So I have number of shoes. So one day there was a shoes with high heel and a little bit, tall, long, I don't wear this kind of shoes, not because I don't feel comfortable. So it has been lying with me for a long time. So one day I thought, these are lying with me for a long time, I should give it to one of the young library staffs. So I took one of it and this is relatively new, it looks new, because nobody used it. So you try, if it is good for your feet, you take it. So as soon as he tried to put his feet in it, the heel came out. Because if you keep things for so long, even if you don't use it, the date is over, you see. So it's really like that. So you check, your house, your room, and see what things you have collected, out of which many things are there which you are not using. Better you clear it, give it to somebody who is in great need. At least you will be simpler and cleaner and easier. You don't have to wash this again and again, then pack it and then wash and never wearing it, So many things like that we do. So, by clearly seeing this and applying great effort, so each of this word has a lot of meaning. By clearly seeing this, बोलता है ना. Foundation of all good qualities, the kind and venerable Guru. Correct devotion. Number one, he uses the word correct devotion. Not false devotion. False devotion means in front of the Guru you do like this. Then behind you say bad things to the Guru or things like that. Correct devotion to him is the root of the path. Correct devotion basically means faith. Correct faith. Reasonable faith. Faith makes your mind clear. When your mind is clear, you become receptive. And you prepare yourself for many other higher practices. So that is really, really important. Teba nyokpa meaning same thangse. That means faith removes the turbidities of the mind and makes the mind clear. And without faith, people without faith cannot develop any positive qualities. Just like a burnt seed, if you plant a burnt seed, you can't hope to grow anything from there. Right? So faith is very important. It's really precursor to all kind of dharma practices and knowledges. So there are many types of faith. I'll explain a little bit of them. One type of faith is called clear faith. Clear faith means your mind should really be clear towards their teacher, towards their object. The example that is given in the text is just like a very lustful person seeing a very beautiful woman. A very lustful person sees a beautiful woman. His mind is just into that. Lucid faith, clear faith. Second is trusting faith. Example is like the trust that the little child has to the mother. The little child really thinks my mother can do anything in the world. Of course she can't do anything in the world, but for that child she does everything. So that kind of trust must be there. Trusting faith. And then third is called aspiring faith. Aspiring faith means wishing to get that. Just like the example is just like a person who is thirsty looking for water. When a person who is thirsty looking for water, the only thing that comes in his mind is, from where I can get water? Pani kahan se milega? As I said the other day, scientifically it is said that if you are thirsty, then this bottled water appears nearer to you than to the person who is not thirsty. Two people may be sitting there in the same line, but one who is thirsty appears that this bottle is nearer to you. So with this kind of genuine aspiring faith, you become closer to obtaining all the higher qualities, compassion, love, whatever. So this is one way of classifying the faiths. The second way of classifying the faith is two. One is called faith of the people who are not so intelligent. Faith of the people whose mind is blunt, not so intelligent. And then the second is faith of the people whose mind is very intelligent. The difference is faith of the people whose mind is not so intelligent, they normally end up developing blind faith. अंधभक्त अंधभक्तियों बोलता है ना आजकल बहुत बोल रहा है इसके बारे में मैंने बहुत सुना है ना सोशल मीडिया में बहुत चर्चा हो रहा है अंधभक्तों मेरा हिंदी से वहाँ से सीखता है ठीक है तो so the problem with those people who doesn't have intelligence, they simply follow people, Yes, 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 yes. They themselves don't have the capacity to analyze. So so that has a little bit advantage, little bit disadvantage also. More disadvantage, little bit advantage. Little bit advantage is the object towards which you are having blind faith. If that turns out to be good, then that one-pointed blind faith is good. Like the Tibetans, I always give the example of Tibetans. Tibetans also, most of the Tibetans are not so educated, right? Especially when we were in Tibet. But they had this very strong faith towards Buddha. Buddha kaun hai, Dharma kaun hai, who is Buddha, who is Dharma, who is Sangha, they have no idea. The elderly people, illiterate people, they have no idea. But if you tell them, if you don't give up Buddha, Dharma and Sangha, I'll kill you, they will say, yes, kill me. But they turned out to be, the religion towards which they have the blind faith turned out to be a really good religion. So I always say Tibetans are really lucky. Now imagine if that is a wrong kind of cult or religion, then you are in great trouble. So therefore, for us, we should follow the way of the people with great intelligence. That means you should always examine and judge by yourself, not just blindly accept because it is said by Buddha. And in this we have the permission from Buddha himself. The Buddha said, just as the goldsmith judges the gold by cutting, rubbing and putting under the fire, similarly judge well my teaching and accept them, and not accept them because you have faith in me. This is really amazing. The Buddha was very confident of his teaching. So he said, you analyze, see for yourself. If it's not useful, give up, no need to follow. Just as the goldsmith judges the gold judges the gold in a three manner: cutting, putting under the fire, and rubbing, filing. So similarly, in the realm of phenomena, there are three types of phenomena. One, which you can directly see. There, you don't need to ask other people question. Unfortunately, many of us don't even do that hard work. We just keep on asking those questions. Kahan hai, kya hai? वो आप खुद जाके देखो उसको. So those things which we can directly see, we should use our eye, use the ear, whatever, and see it by ourselves. Don't ask question. Make it very clear. If you have no idea about apple, and then if you want to know about apple, then go to a place where the apple is available or sold. And once you see it, cut it, taste it, finish. You have the whole knowledge about apple. That is what science is teaching. This is really important. This is something that the Buddhist philosophical students also need to learn. Because in the Buddhist philosophical teaching, sometimes when they give the example of apple, they'll say apple is a fruit, it has a little bit, what kind of color? Maroon kind of color, it has some small black seeds inside. So आपको क्या पता चलेगा? You will not have much idea. So instead of this kind of teaching, you just show the apple. This is apple, eat it, taste it, finish. So those phenomena which you are able to, which we say manifest or obvious phenomena, you should yourself see it. Now even here, normally people don't see it, people don't listen to it properly, then people follow the gossip, the rumor. Have you seen it? No, somebody said. This is a big problem in today's society. So those areas where you can use your senses and see it and feel it clearly, you should do it. And if you have not seen it, you have not heard it yourself, don't talk. Keep quiet. And many of you have heard my talks before. I have told you the story of Aristotle, who said, simply by listening to some other people. He's a great thinker, great philosopher, but there are areas where he don't think. So, so he had heard that women have less teeth than men. So in many of his discourses he said, women have less teeth than men. Is that so? I don't think so. We have same number of teeth. So this is the result of not finding things for yourself and simply listening to other people. And Aristotle had married 2 times. It was very easy for him to ask his wives, please open your mouth, I'll count your teeth. So this is what we need to do. In Buddhist practice, in your teaching, in your scientific study, those things which you can by yourself do, nowadays they say hands-on practices. We should do it. That will also really, really improve your knowledge a lot. Right? So that's why some people say it's really difficult to become a scientist. I read a book where it's so easy to become a scientist. It's so easy to become a scientist because the only thing you have to do is when there is a hell coming, rain coming, rain, hell, don't sit there. But you should ask question. How the hailstorms are formed, from where it is coming, what condition of climate is needed, what kind of clouds needed, nimbus, stratus, there are so many types of clouds, which kind of cloud is needed. You are a scientist. So problem is normally we don't ask questions. We take it for granted. Yes, rain is there. Yes, storm is there. Right? We don't ask questions. So ask questions. If you ask questions, you get the correct answer. Search it. This is called research. This is the real research. That's the real research. The so-called research which is known today in the universities and academic areas is not, I don't think it's a proper research. The so-called research which is done today is copying from many books. If you copy from many books, it is research. If you copy from one book, it is plagiarism. Right? Right. If you kill one person, you are a murderer. If you kill hundreds and thousands in the battlefield to come back, you are a hero. I mean, these stupid things that's happening in the human society, Right? So therefore, you really need to use your brain for everything in that area. Then there is a second level, which your senses cannot detect. There you need to question, reason out, which is called inferential cognition, infer. For example, if you see, normally the example that we put is, if you see smoke on the distant top of a mountain, then you can infer that there must be people living there. Then you can infer there must be fire. So that way you can reason, use your reason again. Then there is a third level which is called completely hidden phenomena. Your senses cannot detect, you cannot also use logic and infer. So what should you do there? There the only thing left is to listen to somebody. Listen to somebody means not anybody. Listen to somebody who is reliable and who has no reason to cheat you. For example, if I ask you, what do you think I have in my pocket? You can't see directly. You can't use your logic. Maybe you try to use your logic because you might think, okay, either he has some money or some sweets. So what do you think? What do you think I have here? Huh? My hand. I'm joking. Anyway, but this is a joke. What I'm saying is, you, unless I tell you, you will not be able to figure that out, right? So, for example, similarly, for example, if I ask you when were you born, if you say 15 August 1956, then if we ask how do you know, have you seen it? No. Did you use your logic to figure that out? No. How did you figure that out? My parents told me. How can you rely upon your parents? You can rely upon your parents because the parents don't get anything by telling your birthday wrong. And they have, more importantly, they have love and compassion for you. So therefore you can rely on that. So similarly, many of these profound philosophical teachings given by Buddha, which you cannot directly detect and question, you can rely because the teachings that the Buddha gave in the two areas were found correct, and Buddha is compassionate. So therefore I can rely on those subjects also. So indirectly you are going to use some reasons in that way. So that's the process. Okay? So, By clearly seeing this and applying great effort, likha hai na yahan? Meaning that you can't, by small, short-lived attempts, you are not going to achieve much. By applying great effort, please bless me to rely upon him with great respect. Understanding that the precious freedom of this rebirth is found only once. It doesn't mean you will never be able to born again as human life, but here once means not easy, difficult to find, almost like finding it once. Of course, as we are already studying, if you accumulate all the needed causes and conditions, you will find it again, of course. But here it means it is almost like finding it only once, not easy to find. So, because this is difficult to find, and this is, I was reading a scientific piece, scientific article on the human life, as I said briefly earlier, that they also saying the same thing. The fact that you got this human life is just by chance. Out of 100,000 possibilities, many people don't get this chance to be born. Having your mother and father meet on such and such occasion, and then the egg and the ovum, appropriate, and your karma is there. So many factors have to come. So it's by chance. You were the lucky one who won this lottery by chance. So enjoy. That's what the scientists also say. So it's very interesting. So you found this once, and it's of great meaning. It is greatly meaningful, and it's very precious, meaningful, but not easy to get again, difficult to find it again. Now, even in this very lifetime, before you die also, if you don't do some of these practices, when your mind is fresh, your body is energetic, when you have the time, then when you become old, it will be very difficult to do these practices. Okay? So don't postpone. Don't be lazy. Please bless me to generate the mind that unceasingly, day and night, takes its essence. Day and night to ab nahi kar sakega. I know none of us will be able to practice day and night. But it means practice continuously. Practice continuously. Practice continuously कैसे करोगे? ऐसे कुछ नहीं, 2 घंटा ऐसे कुछ नहीं करना है. आपने क्या करना है? 15 even if you spend 15 minutes, even if you spend 20 minutes, try to know the meaning of what you are reading clearly. This is what I do. For example, if I found a very beautiful verse, I look at it. If I know the meaning, okay. If I don't know the meaning, I read the commentary. Then I make sure that I know the meaning of the word and all the lines. Then I close it. Then I see, okay, do I remember now? Not so clear again. Then I read again. Then I memorize the words. Then gradually something stays in your mind. This is what you need to do. Unless you are exceptionally clever, just reading one time, galloping through the text, it's very difficult to get anything.
Perseverance and patience.
Perseverance, patience, yes. And then many people ask me this question. Before asking this question, I will give you this answer. Many people ask me this question repeatedly by saying, I want to practice, but I'm not able to practice. What should I do? I want to concentrate. I'm not able to concentrate. What should I do? So my answer now is very simple. My answer is, you should like what you are going to do. You should like what you are going to do. If you like something, you will do it without any difficulty. Just like a football player, he likes it. A musician, she likes it. So they do it very well. Now in our case, I should not say you don't like it, but there is lukewarm interest. There's not much strong interest. That's why many people, when they talk about spiritual practice, they say, if I get time, then I do it. Meaning your spiritual practice is left at the last, as the last thing to do. Actually, this is the most important thing to do. Yes, I know you are preoccupied with your food, clothing, so many other things, but in between also you can do. 10-20 minutes, cease 10-20 minutes, cease 10-20 minutes in between. Do it. Morning 10-20 minutes. After lunch 10-20 minutes, evening 10-20 minutes. Right? It's very important to do it. Just like for the body, you have to eat 5-6 times. Breakfast, lunch, dinner, in between, tea break, Kit Kat, whatever, so many things. Right? And then for this mind, no food at all. So therefore I am saying that much of the problem that we see in the world is a clear indication of starvation of human mind. मन भूखा है, कुछ नहीं खाना किसी ने नहीं दिया. And Shantideva in his Bodhicharya avatar clearly says the food for anger is unhappiness of mind. So in today's modern society, many people are upset and angry because they are unhappy. And that unhappiness is the food for the anger. So if you want to stop anger, don't give food. Don't be unhappy, be happy. So these are like the great techniques which is already available. Okay? This life is as impermanent as a water bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After death, just like a rainbow follows the body, the results of black and white karma follows. Easier example is, he gave you this example of a bubble. We discussed about these three things, Death is definite. Now this is explained by the bubble. It's definite, the bubble will burst out. So death is definite. The time of death is indefinite. When this bubble is going to burst out, indefinite. And then, at the time of death, it's only dharma, nothing else is of help. So when this bubble bursts out, there's nothing that's of any benefit. Right? So that's why they use this word, bubble. Remember how quickly it decays and death comes. After death, just like a shadow follows. Shadow follows the body means, when you see, I've seen this many times. Next time when you fly, and the aeroplane is about to land, you look from the window. When you're flying high, you don't see the shadow of the aeroplane. But when you are landing, then the shadow becomes clear and clear. So it means shadow was there. It's only because of the situation you are unable to see it. Right? After death, just like a shadow follows the body, the results of black and white karma follow. Finding firm and definite conviction. देखो यहाँ भी है ना, firm and definite conviction. Guesswork से नहीं चलेगा. Study करके, you study and develop definite conviction. Yes, this is true. Please bless me to always be careful. Careful होना चाहिए अभी. You should always be alert and careful and watch and see what you are doing. That's important. Always be careful. To abandon even the slightest negativities. This is a small, misdeed, so it should be okay. Don't say that. You should not say that this is a small poison. If I take it, it's okay. It's not okay, right? Even the slightest negatives and accomplish all virtuous deeds. So this completes the path common to the small individual. The next we read from the other text. Page number 19. Sorry, page number 10, verse 19. Page 10, verse 19. If we do not strive in... So now from here it starts the path common to the middle individual. Under the path common to the middle individual, normally it discusses the three trainings: morality, concentration, wisdom, and the Four Noble Truth, and the process of achieving liberation. So here it says, if we do not strive in contemplating the defects, the truth of suffering, the genuine aspiration for liberation does not arise in us. If we do not contemplate the causal process of origin of suffering will fail to understand how to cut the root of cyclic existence. So that means, if we do not strive in contemplating the defects of the truth of suffering, if you are not able to see that there is really suffering, then genuine aspiration for liberation does not arise in us. That means then you will develop no wish to achieve liberation, because you don't see any problem. It's just like living in your present home where everything is okay, no problem, no conflict among the family members going on, nothing. Then why should you move to other city? It's only when you see a lot of problems in your family, then you think about, oh, I should move to Calcutta, or I should move to America, things like that. Right? So you need to see the problems. Right? If we do not strive in contemplating the defects of the truth of suffering, the genuine aspiration for liberation does not arise in us. As Aryadeva in his 400 verses says, those who are not disgusted with this life in the samsara will never develop respect to nirvana. Right? Likewise, if we do not contemplate the causal process of the origin of suffering, what are the causes of this suffering? The causal causes are negative emotions. If you do not contemplate the causal process of the origin of suffering, if you do not know about ignorance, hatred, attachment, so forth, which are the causes of suffering, you will fail to understand how to cut the root of cyclic existence. Because the root of samsara is ignorance, plus hatred, attachment, and host of other negative emotions. What do you mean by negative emotion? Negative emotions are those emotions which, when arises in your mind, leaves you completely disturbed and destroys your peace. That's negative emotion. Right? It's easy to understand in terms of anger. When anger arises, it disturbs your peace. It's also relatively easy to, get this understanding from ignorance. When you are ignorant, your mind becomes dull. Similarly, in the case of attachment, you think it's okay, attachment. Right? You are not harming anybody directly. Right? You are in fact asking somebody to come closer to you, be with you, attachment. But the problem is you get obsessed with that. You see? In the case of hatred, you say, go, get lost, I have nothing to do with you. It's very clear. With attachment says, come closer, live with me. Looks good, but you get stuck there. You get stuck there. It's like a drop of oil that fell on a piece of cloth. Difficult to separate it from yourself. Day and night you will think about that object of attachment. So the few things, important things that you need to understand is that all these negative emotions, when they arise, it will cripple you. It will destabilize you. For example, if anger arises, of course you thought you pulled enough energy to fight with somebody, but actually it makes you vulnerable, because your mind is not functioning now. When attachment also arises, you thought you are trying to get something, but actually when you develop attachment towards this Mercedes car, I want Mercedes car. Now I am ready to fall. I am not standing upright. I am pulled towards this direction. Right? So when this negative emotions arises, you become weak, you become vulnerable. Right? They are worse than human enemy. Human enemy, when they harm you, they have their personal purposes. Maybe to feed their family, some purposes. These negative emotions have no other purpose except to destroy you. Right? When the human enemy, they may be very bad, but they come from outside. So you can also use your ballistic missile or atom bomb, whatever, or gun or whatever, and fight. If you can't fight, you can also run away. You can also say, sorry, I'll become part of you, forgive me, spare my life, I'll do whatever you say. This is what many politicians are doing these days. Right? So you can do that. But you can't do this with your negative emotion, because these negative emotions are within you, number one. Number two, human beings have this very curious tendency of whatever is belonging to you, you have this very peculiar tendency of seeing that as good. If I ask you anger is good or bad, you'll say bad. When you get angry, if I ask you why you get angry, is it good? Yeah, I have reason. My anger is good. So there I deliver a very, very interesting talk which is called smelly socks. Smelly socks. Smelly socks means when it is your smelly socks, it smells better. If you want to check whether your smelly socks is good or bad, sometimes some people, be honest, don't laugh at me, be honest. Sometimes you might even bring that smelly socks close to your nose and see whether it smells. Don't laugh, be honest, I said be honest. To see whether it is smelly or not. But if it is someone else's socks, even if it is brand new, you might say, oh, socks, This is the mentality. Anything belonging to you, try to justify it, even the negative ones. So don't do that. So therefore, it's very risky. And these negative emotions are not outside you, it is there. And in fact, right now the situation is, the bosses of the negative emotions, the President and Prime Minister, they've already captured the headquarters of your mind. They're already sitting there. Because our virtuous practice is so weak, nobody is challenging them. So they are doing whatever they like. So who are these President and Prime Minister of the negative emotions? Self-cherishing attitude and ignorance. Self-grasping we call it. So that means, one, seeing things as having independent existence. That's the boss, Prime Minister. And then the second one is self-cherishing attitude, which means thinking just about yourself and completely ignoring others. This is not to say you don't think about yourself, but thinking just only about yourself and then say, go hell with other people, what they need. That's called self. So these two are there, bosses of the negative emotions. And the counterforce for these two negative emotions are, the counterforce for self-grasping or ignorance is wisdom, understanding, shunyata, which we don't have. Our attempt is very weak. And then the counterforce against self-cherishing attitude is bodhicitta. That also we don't have. Our practice is weak. So therefore I am saying nobody is challenging. So they are having fine time. So then they send all the other host of negative emotions, the ministers, who run different portfolios, jealousy, hatred, they send all around, So that is the situation right now. So now when we talk about Buddhist practice, what we should do now? Now we should say, very strongly, boldly, we should say, gone, we should strongly, loudly talk to the negative emotions by saying, gone are the times when you befooled me, when you cheated me. Now, because of my teacher, because of the precious text, I have some idea how to dislodge you, how to dethrone you, you stupid ignorance, you stupid self-cherishing attitude. Now I have elected my new President, Prime Minister, wisdom, understanding, shunyata and bodhicitta. So there you need to empower them, strengthen them, and elect them as your boss. So this is like an election going on, you see. So enthrone them and dethrone and dislodge the two enemies, plus with their party. This is practice. This is the practice, right? Is it clear? Okay. So if we do not contemplate the causal process, the origin of suffering, we will fail to understand how to cut off the root of cyclic existence. Cut the root of cyclic existence. The root of cyclic existence is ignorance, seeing things as having independent existence. And the counterforce to that is wisdom, understanding, emptiness, which sees things do not have independent existence. Right? So, it is vital to seek the renunciation of disenchantment with existence and to recognize which factors chain us in the cycle of existence. I, a yogi, have practiced in this manner. You who aspire for liberation too should do likewise. So therefore it is very important, vital to seek true renunciation. True renunciation means the wish to come out of this cycle of existence. In order to develop this wish to come out of samsara, you need to know, you should be fed up with existence in the samsara. This is not easy, because we all do talk about samsara, but we fear death, right? Why we fear death? When we fear death, it means you don't want to die. When you say you don't want to die, what are you saying? You're going to live. Live where? In the samsara. So in the depth of your mind, we are all thinking, so far samsara is not very bad. It's okay. I have nice house, nice friend, nice relatives, things to eat, things to wear. It's quite good. Right? So I'm not saying don't enjoy these things. What I'm saying is, if you really want to get out of this major problem, then you need to think about that. Because as we already discussed, whatever you have, whatever glamorous life you are leading right now, it's bubble. That bubble will burst out any time. So don't put too much trust in that. It's a commonplace that parents and children are, not living in harmony today. Fighting over wealth, cheating each other, everywhere, you see. Right? So therefore it's really, really important to put the main trust in the law of causality, liberation. All right? So some questions?
Namaste, Vajin. How do I differentiate between attachment and responsibility to protect? Deep responsibility to protect. What is it differentiate? How do I differentiate between them?
This will be better understood if you are able to differentiate between love and attachment, genuine love and attachment. Right? Or in other words, genuine love and false love. Okay? Genuine love means, irrespective of what that other people, how those other people to whom you are protecting are responding. Whatever they do, you still have their love. You continue to help them, protect them. Unconditional love, we call it. That is responsibility. Yeah. Yeah. So that's genuine responsibility, right? Then in our ordinary case, the love that normally, not everywhere, in many cases the love we so much talk about is, I call it business love.
That's what she calls.
The business love. Transactional business love. Business love means, even if you make a big declaration by saying, I love you so much, you are basically saying, I love you so much so long as you love me. I give you 10 rupees so long as you give me 20 rupees, something like that, This is called business love. This is not what is taught in Buddhism. What is taught in Buddhism is, I love you whether you love me or not, because I know you are like me, suffering. Because I know you like me, want happiness, do not want suffering. You see, so this kind of love is much more clearer between the parents and children than husband and wife.
Krishna, would you like to explain the importance of letting go in love? I have this book, Eight Rules of Love.
Yeah, letting go, letting.
So I just read a book review of this book and I bought it in World Book Fair, Eight Rules of Love. It concludes that letting go is actually
Yeah, true.
in which you free
Yeah,
your beloved.
True. So letting go means, as I already mentioned, you do your job. Don't expect anything. Just like the earth, the water, the 4 or 5 elements, they give you everything, but they are not asking anything back. It should be like that. It's not easy. Easier said than done, but this is what we need to do. Because if you are able to do that, actually you will be freer, you will be happier. Normally we think otherwise. We think if I do something, get something back, then it's good, otherwise I'll not do. You see? So even if I do something for him or her, then I think, okay, I did this for him or her, so one day he or she might do something for me. See, expectation is there still. That should not be there. So therefore the Buddhist teaching says, as I said the other day, one teacher, he said, I've given so many teachings to so many students, but I never ever expected even a thank you. Forget about material gifts. The reason he put forth was because there's nobody who is not suffering. And I have compassion for them. And they are like my children. You don't expect, if you're a true good parent, your being able to help the children is more than enough. You don't expect anything. You see? That should be there. Yeah.
Hello. So how can we be so sure of the illusionary nature of samsara, especially when we have a Buddhist saying that if you see Buddha on the road, kill him?
No, that's a different thing. Because this Zen Roshi, whose book I also read, right in the beginning he says, if you see the Buddha on the road, kill him. That he's not saying, in practical terms, kill the Buddha. He's saying that sometimes we pay too much attention to the person of the Buddha than his teaching. So therefore, in this connection, he said, kill the Buddha. Don't talk too much about the Buddha. Pay attention to his teaching. That's what he's saying. Yeah.
Be so sure that the samsara is illusionary.
It's not only samsara. Everything is illusion. Not only samsara. Illusion means, as I explained yesterday also, illusion doesn't mean things are not there. Illusion means things are not there as you think. Now this is not only said in Buddhism, it is proved in science. Because the brain never tells you the truth. It makes its own like photo. Huh? There's no other alternative. There's no better source of information. So the scientists also, they say, brain is a liar. Yeah.
So there is no other method to know for sure like the illusionary nature of samsara.
Why you need other method? This method is very good.
Science said.
Huh?
Just because science.
So therefore, you should study different philosophies on just one topic, what they are saying, not just follow Buddhism, Because I found, I don't only read Buddhism, I read many write-ups by scientists and philosophers today and of the past, So it was so interesting that I found most of them are more or less coming to the same point. You see, so that is really, really very encouraging, because the same thing is said in a different language, which sometimes may be easier to understand, you see.
Yeah, so some religious texts say something very opposite, that if you do things, you will get heaven. If you don't do certain things, you will get hell.
No, I'm nobody to comment on many other religions. I don't have that knowledge. But all I'm saying is, don't just get stuck with the meaning of the word, the superficial meaning of the word. Go a little bit deeper. In any text, there should be a deeper meaning, For example, even in the Buddha's own sutra teaching, there is one line which says, father and mother are to be killed. Exact word is there. But now people who don't know the context, they might think, oh, what is this? But the actual context is, Ajat Shatru, he killed his father. Patricides. He killed his father, then he's sunk into depression. Then people said that the only person who can bring you from out of this depression is probably Buddha. You go and talk to him. Then he went to Buddha, and then he said, I committed this heinous crime of killing my father. What should I do? He said, so what? Father and mother are to be killed. And because of his trust to the Buddha, he thought, oh, this should be something okay. He came back to his senses. More or less the depression, he came out of this depression. When his mind was clear, then the Buddha said, come listen. Now I explain to you. Father and mother are to be killed. When I said father and mother are to be killed, I am not talking about your physical father and mother. I am talking about ignorance and karma, which are like father and mother, produces all other sufferings and emotions. So you have to be tactful, So you need to understand the context and everything. Yeah. Yeah. Huh? Yeah, after this question, yeah.
Geshe, first of all, thank you so much for taking our time to teach us. It was lovely on the lecture. One question I've always struggled is the teachings on bodhicitta. When you learn that, they say reflect on the demerits of cherishing oneself and the merits of cherishing others.
Yes.
So Geshe, sometimes you suffer so much from criticizing your own self. You don't love yourself. So what is a healthy way of loving oneself and balancing this?
I got your point already. That's why I said thinking only about oneself and not others. I never said don't think about yourself. So self-cherishing attitude doesn't mean you don't cherish yourself. Of course, you cherish yourself. Therefore you want to become Buddha, you want to achieve nirvana, things like that. You must cherish yourself. This precious human life we call it. So removing the self-cherishing attitude means an attitude where you think only of yourself and not at all of others. That is negative. But otherwise in Buddhism also, yes, you love yourself. You take care of yourself. And in fact, the reason is, your taking care of yourself is taking care of others. When you develop bodhicitta, you are saying, I will make them achieve Buddhahood for the benefit, I'll cultivate bodhicitta, may I achieve Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. That's the definition of bodhicitta. May I achieve Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. You are saying that. So that means you are dedicating yourself to benefit others. So you are for others. If you are for others, how can you not love yourself? You belong to others. Right? So very important. So therefore taking care of yourself is taking care of others. Taking care of others is taking care of yourself. Both the way. Yeah. Shunyata. Om Sobhava Shunyata Sarvadharma Sobhava Shunyata. There is a very beautiful expression, Sanskrit expression which says Om Sobhava Shuddh Sarvadharma Sobhava Shuddh. Om Sobhava Shuddh. Om means A, O, Ma, 3 letters. These 3 letters symbolize the person who has body, speech and mind. So the person having body, speech and mind by nature is empty. Om Sobhava Shuddh. The Om person, Sobhava by nature, Shuddh means empty, have no inherent existence. Likewise, like the person, Sarva Dharma Sobhava Shuddh. All phenomena, Sarva Dharma by nature have no independent inherent existence. That's the meaning. Now the key question is, what do you mean by emptiness? Number one, emptiness is not equal to nothingness. Emptiness is fullness. And I've been saying this over and over, it looks like both the mathematical concept of zero and philosophical concept of shunyata developed in India. They have similar, almost like similar kind of meaning. In mathematics, zero doesn't mean nothing. Without zero is the foundation. Without zero you can't have 10, 20, 100 and so forth. So similarly, in the philosophical arena, if things are not devoid of independent existence, nothing can come into existence. So therefore, things do not have independent existence does not mean things don't exist. Things don't have independent existence, therefore they have existence which is not independent. They have an existence which is dependent. Because of these things come into being, dependent, causes and conditions, interactions, and then things come forth. If things have independent existence, then it should be as it is. Nothing can do anything on it. Right? So therefore, emptiness means empty of independent existence. And then the next question is, why? Okay, that may be so, but why should we bother our dear head to understand this very complex philosophical subject? Why should I bother my dear head? You should bother your dear head because your dear head always says things exist independently. When you love somebody, oh, she is so nice, she is 100% good, which is wrong. She may be good, but not 100%. Huh? Then the enemy that you don't like, you will not only say this enemy is horrible, but you will say the enemy is 100% negative. And because of this tendency, you think that it is not possible to have any dialogue, negotiation with the enemy, right? But people who have this understanding, like His Holiness Dalai Lama, despite all the wrongdoings in Tibet, still His Holiness is saying, let us have dialogue and discussion with the Chinese leaders. Right? So therefore, there are things that is good. But if you tend to see it as 100% good, then you get obsessed with it. Then develop very strong attachment. Therefore we always say, I need this. Without this I can't live. I'm going to commit suicide. मुझे तो यही चाहिए. इसके बिना मैं नहीं रह सकता. बोलता है ना, हम लोग नहीं बोलते. बेवकूफ़ों. कई लोग ऐसे बोलते हैं ना, सोशल मीडिया से का सब ये बेवकूफ़ों. हाँ, आपको नहीं बोल रहा. हाँ.
Geshe?
Yeah.
This side.
Oh, okay.
Kaise aap? So this is Surendra. The question is, we did talk about the addiction, and that's why I want to ask a question about which is a modern addiction, the social media one. And we were just talking about the shunyata and independence exists and everything. So my question is, social media like any other tool. You can use it to connect with other people, or you can use it to put as much harm as possible on people as well, right?
Yes.
We think that we are doing things. When I say we, I'm talking to a majority. We think that we're using it for the common good, for my own good, but end up doing on the other side instead. Is there a way to see if I'm addicted or not, or where do I draw the line if this is social media addiction or this is something I'm causing harm on others?
As I said, it is primarily dependent upon you what kind of choice you are making, a good choice or bad choice. If you made a proper good choice, and then to promote that right path, right choice, if you do it repeatedly, then I would not call it addiction. As I use the other word, habituation, positive habit, right? But if you know what you are doing is harming others instead of helping, still you do it because money is forthcoming. अब YouTube बना रहा है ना आजकल, many people are making their own YouTube channels because money is forthcoming. So if you do it because of those reasons, then it's addiction. Yeah. And then I must say a word about addiction. Some years back, we had 5 days Buddhist and science dialogue with His Holiness the Dalai Lama. At that time there was a lady, I forgot her name, who was a director of one institute in Washington, and she was dealing with all these addiction problems. She was an expert on that subject. So she said the problem with addiction is, normally when you are not addicted, your brain has a natural capacity to protect you to some extent, to tell you what is right, what is wrong. If you just listen, behave normally, listen to your brain, or likewise other parts of your body also, the body, especially the brain, has capacity to protect you. Right? But if you get addicted to something, the brain will tell you few times, no, you are going to the wrong place. For example, if you take a puff of smoke for the first time, what will happen? You will cough, sometimes violently, you don't feel like it. So there the brain is saying it's not good for you. You still force yourself, take another puff. Again you will cough. Few times like that, few days like that. The brain will tell you. Still you continue to smoke. Then after some time, you will not cough. That doesn't mean that the cigarette is good for you. That means the brain has now stopped working. So now the risk is the addicted part of the brain takes over. The normal brain stops functioning. So it's very dangerous, very risky. So therefore many people who are alcoholics, others, they are not able to stop it because the addicted part takes over. Right?
It's not a question, but just a humble intervention. You touched upon a very interesting point when you want to check veracity and credibility of any teaching or tradition. Just see if the giver of a teaching or tradition had some personal gains. Like in the case of Buddha, he hadn't. But I see when we look up to religious gurus of today, they have a lot of gains in their teachings and traditions.
Yes.
Would you like to shed some light on this?
So it depends upon the teacher. Depends upon the teacher. There are teachers who are really practitioners who don't see much about their personal gain, who are not so interested having YouTube, earn money, things like that. And then there are others who really want to be circled by the rich people, not only people but rich people. And the money is forthcoming continuously so that they can build their empire. Many have already built their empire. In India, many have built their empire. I'm not jealous of them, but I'm just stating the fact, right? So sometimes they go to such an extreme, then the Baba is caught. वो भी हुआ था ना, बहुत सारा लोग पकड़ गया था. है ना? All these things are happening. So at the end, the story will not be very good, right? So it depends, upon the teacher, And then also, like the so-called teachers are human beings. The teachers also have to survive and live, so some of them, not necessarily very mean, but they may be doing something to earn their livelihood, So sometimes I say this teaching is another profession, you see. Human beings do many different kind of professions. Some sing, some dance, some teach. At the end of the day, get something to eat, survive, उसी में चले जाते हैं हम लोग. So that's the problem or whatever. This is the reality. Yeah. ठीक है ना? Yeah. Okay. That's it today. Thank you.